The conference room fell silent as King Blackwood slammed his fist on the mahogany table. Papers scattered across the polished surface, and 5 board members flinched simultaneously. His dark eyes blazed with barely controlled fury as he stared down the man who had just questioned his latest acquisition. "Let me make this crystal clear," King said, his voice dangerously low. "I didn't build a $10 billion empire by second-guessing my decisions. Either you trust my judgment, or you can clear out your desk by noon." The board members swallowed hard and nodded. King straightened his Italian suit jacket and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. At 35, he had everything most men dreamed of: wealth, power, influence. Yet as he stared at his reflection in the glass, all he saw was an empty shell of a man who had traded his heart for a corporate throne. His assistant James entered quietly. "Mr. Blackwood, your 2 o'clock appointment is here. The surrogacy agency representative." King turned from the window, his expression hardening into the mask he wore so well. "Send them in." 6 months ago, he had made a decision that shocked even his closest advisors. He wanted an heir, someone to eventually inherit everything he had built. But love? Marriage? Those were luxuries he could no longer afford. Not after Vanessa had torn his heart out and laughed about it with her friends while their engagement ring still sat on her finger. He had overheard them at a charity gala, hiding behind a curtain, mocking him. "Of course I don't love him," Vanessa had giggled. "But his bank account, that I love very much." The memory still burned like acid in his chest. So he had found a solution. A clinical, business-like solution that required no emotional investment. He would hire a surrogate, create his heir through science, and maintain complete control over the situation. No messy feelings. No vulnerability. No chance of betrayal. James returned with a thin folder. "The agency has selected their top candidate based on your specifications. Maya Rodriguez, 28, clean medical history, no criminal record, financially motivated." King flipped open the folder. A photo of a young woman with warm brown eyes and a genuine smile stared back at him. She had an openness to her face that immediately made him uncomfortable. People who smiled like that usually wanted something. "Financially motivated?" King asked. "Student debt from art school, caring for a sick younger brother who needs ongoing medical treatment. She's a teacher. The agency believes she'll comply with all contractual terms for the compensation you're offering." $500,000 is more than generous, King said, closing the folder. "Schedule the meeting. I want this done by the end of the week." Across the city, Maya Rodriguez stood in front of her third-grade art class, her heart breaking as she watched 8-year-old Emma hold up a painting of her family. Tomorrow would be Maya's last day at Jefferson Elementary. She couldn't afford to keep working here, not with Daniel's medical bills piling up and the eviction notice burning a hole in her purse. "That's beautiful, Emma," Maya said, forcing brightness into her voice. "I love how you made everyone smile so big." After the final bell rang and the children scattered, Maya sat alone in her classroom, surrounded by colorful paintings and half-finished projects. Her phone buzzed. Sophia, her best friend and the school's music teacher, appeared in the doorway. "Did you think about what I told you?" Sophia asked gently. Maya had thought about nothing else for 3 days. Sophia's cousin worked at a surrogacy agency and had mentioned a client willing to pay $500,000 for a surrogate. No emotional involvement. Strictly business. The money would save Daniel's life, pay off her debts, and give her a fresh start. "I called them," Maya admitted. "I have a meeting tomorrow with the client." Sophia hugged her friend tightly. "I know this isn't what you dreamed of, but sometimes life gives us impossible choices." The next morning, Maya stood outside Blackwood Tower, craning her neck to see the top of the gleaming skyscraper. Her second-hand dress suddenly felt inadequate, and her hands trembled as she pushed through the revolving doors. The lobby alone probably cost more than her entire apartment building. A stern-looking woman in her 50s met her at the elevator. "Miss Rodriguez? I'm Patricia Sanchez, Mr. Blackwood's attorney. Please follow me." They rode to the 65th floor in silence. Patricia led her to a conference room where thick legal documents waited on the table. "Mr. Blackwood will join us shortly. In the meantime, please review the contract. The terms are non-negotiable." Maya's eyes widened as she read. $500,000. Complete medical coverage. But also, no personal contact beyond scheduled medical appointments. No attempts to establish parental rights. No deviation from approved activities during pregnancy. Absolute discretion required. She would essentially be an incubator, nothing more. The door opened, and King Blackwood entered. Maya's breath caught. She had seen photos online, but they hadn't prepared her for the reality of him. Tall, broad-shouldered, with sharp features that looked carved from granite. His dark suit probably cost more than her car. But it was his eyes that struck her most, intelligent and penetrating, yet somehow hollow, as if something vital had been carved out of him. "Miss Rodriguez," he said, not offering his hand. "I appreciate your punctuality. I assume Patricia has explained the arrangement." "Yes, Mr. Blackwood." Maya stood, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. "I've reviewed the contract." And his tone was clipped, businesslike. "Do you have questions, or can we proceed?" Maya thought of Daniel in his hospital bed, his pale face as the doctors explained they were running out of treatment options. She thought of the eviction notice, the final warnings from debt collectors, the slow, drowning feeling of having no way out. "I have one question," she said quietly. "Why?" King's eyebrows rose slightly. "Why what? Why this way? You could have anyone. Why hire a stranger to carry your child?" For a moment, something flickered in his eyes. Pain, maybe, or old anger. But it vanished so quickly Maya wondered if she had imagined it. "Because this is honest," he said flatly. "No false promises. No pretense of feelings that don't exist. You need money. I need an heir. We both get what we want without the complications of emotions. It's simply a transaction, Miss Rodriguez. Do you have a problem with that?" Maya wanted to say yes. She wanted to tell him that creating a life should be about love, not transactions. But she thought of Daniel again, and the words died in her throat. "No problem," she whispered. "Where do I sign?" King nodded approvingly and gestured to Patricia. "Excellent. My attorney will handle the details. The medical procedure will be scheduled for next week. Once pregnancy is confirmed, you'll receive the first installment of $50,000. He was already heading for the door when Maya called out, "Mr. Blackwood?" He paused but didn't turn around. "Thank you," she said. "You're saving my brother's life. I want you to know that." King's shoulders tensed. "I'm not saving anyone, Miss Rodriguez. I'm making a business investment. Let's not confuse it with nobility." Then he was gone, leaving Maya alone with Patricia and a pen that felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. The medical procedure was conducted at a private clinic with all the warmth of a corporate merger. King was present only to sign paperwork. Maya lay on the examination table, trying not to think about how clinical it all felt, how different from how she had imagined starting a family someday. 2 weeks later, the test came back positive. Maya stared at the 2 pink lines and felt a strange mixture of relief and sadness. She placed her hand on her still flat stomach and whispered, "I'm going to take care of you. I promise." The first installment appeared in her account the next day. Maya paid for Daniel's next round of treatments and watched her little brother's relieved tears. "You're going to be okay," she told him. "Everything's going to be okay." But saying it didn't make it feel true. The first trimester passed in a blur of scheduled appointments and formal text message updates. King never attended the appointments in person. His assistant James would appear, take notes, and disappear. Maya would sit in her small apartment, talking to her growing belly about all the things she couldn't say to anyone else. "Your father is complicated," she would murmur. "He's built walls so high, I don't think sunlight reaches him anymore. But maybe you'll be the one to show him light again." At 4 months, everything changed. Maya was teaching her class, demonstrating watercolor techniques, when the room started spinning. She grabbed the desk for support, but her legs buckled. The last thing she heard was Sophia screaming her name before darkness swallowed her whole. She woke in a hospital bed with machines beeping around her. A doctor with kind eyes stood beside her, and behind him, unexpectedly, was King Blackwood. His face was pale, his usual composure cracked. "Miss Rodriguez," the doctor said gently, "you've had a significant blood pressure spike. Combined with some other factors, I'm classifying this as a high-risk pregnancy. You need complete bed rest for the remainder of the term." "But my job," Maya protested weakly. "My apartment, I can't afford." "You'll stay at my penthouse," King interrupted, his voice brooking no argument. "I have staff who can ensure you follow doctor's orders. I'll arrange for everything you need." Maya tried to sit up. "Mr. Blackwood, the contract didn't include." "The contract didn't anticipate complications that could jeopardize the pregnancy," King said sharply. This isn't a request, Miss Rodriguez. It's the logical solution to ensure the best outcome. You mean to protect your investment, Maya said bitterly. Something flashed in King's eyes. If that's how you want to frame it, fine. My car is waiting. Patricia will handle the logistics of closing your apartment and transferring your belongings. 3 hours later, Maya found herself in a penthouse that occupied the entire top floor of Blackwood Tower. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic views of Manhattan. The furniture was modern and expensive, but the space felt sterile, like a luxury hotel room that no one actually lived in. King showed her to a guest bedroom that was larger than her entire apartment. The kitchen is fully stocked. My housekeeper, Mrs. Hart, comes daily. If you need anything, use the intercom system. This is too much, Maya said quietly. It's adequate, King corrected. I'll be working from home for the foreseeable future to monitor the situation. Try to stay out of my way, and I'll stay out of yours. With that, he left her alone in the cavernous bedroom. Maya sat on the edge of the bed and felt tears slip down her cheeks. This was supposed to be simple. A transaction. Nothing more. So why did she feel like she was falling apart? The first week was awkward beyond description. King worked in his study with the door closed. Maya stayed in her room or wandered the penthouse like a ghost. They ate dinner at opposite ends of a dining table that could seat 12, the silence broken only by the clink of silverware. On the 8th night, Maya couldn't sleep. At 2 in the morning, she wandered to the kitchen for water and found King at the counter, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, staring at his laptop screen with exhausted eyes. "Do you ever stop working?" she asked. He looked up, startled. "Do you ever stop talking to my child?" Maya's hand instinctively went to her stomach. "You heard that. The walls aren't as thick as you think." King closed his laptop. "What do you tell them?" "Stories," Maya admitted. "About art and color and beauty. About how the world can be hard, but also wonderful. About hope." "Hope," King repeated, as if testing an unfamiliar word. "That's a dangerous thing to believe in. Is that what happened to you?" Maya pulled out a chair at the kitchen island, sitting closer to him than they had been since she moved in. "Someone took your hope." King's jaw tightened. "Someone taught me the truth. Hope is a fairy tale we tell ourselves before reality crushes it." "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard," Maya said softly. "It's honest." King poured himself a drink. "You seem like the type who believes in love and happiness and all those pretty lies." "They're not lies just because someone hurt you," Maya countered. "I've been hurt too. Life hasn't been easy, but I still believe people are capable of good, of love, of change." King studied her for a long moment. "You're an optimist. You're a pessimist. I'm a realist." "You're scared," Maya said gently, and watched his entire body go rigid. "I'm not scared of anything, Miss Rodriguez. Everyone's scared of something, Mr. Blackwood. You're just better at hiding it than most people." The air between them crackled with tension. Then King stood abruptly. "You should rest. Doctor's orders." But as he passed her, he paused. "The stories you tell, they're good. Keep telling them." It was the first kind thing he had said to her. Maya watched him disappear down the hallway and wondered what had hurt him so badly that kindness felt like pulling teeth. After that night, something shifted. King started leaving his study door open. Maya would paint in the sunroom he had set up for her with expensive supplies she never would have been able to afford, and he would work at his desk, occasionally glancing up to watch her. Neither acknowledged the change, but it was there, a slow thawing of the ice between them. 2 weeks later, King came home early with bags from an art supply store. "You mentioned cadmium yellow was your favorite," he said gruffly, setting them on the counter. "They were out, so I had them order it." Maya's eyes widened. "You remembered that?" "I remember everything," King said, then seemed uncomfortable with the admission. "It's just good memory. Don't read into it." But Maya was reading into it, and her heart was doing dangerous things in her chest. They began eating dinner closer together at the table, then sitting side by side. Conversations stretched from minutes to hours. King told her about building his company from nothing, about the ruthlessness required to survive in his world. Maya told him about growing up with a single mother who worked 3 jobs, about discovering art as an escape, about Daniel's illness and her fear of losing the only family she had left. "You're stronger than you think," King said one night as they watched the city lights from the balcony. "So are you," Maya replied. "You just don't want to admit it." At 5 months, the baby kicked for the first time during one of their late-night conversations. Maya gasped and grabbed King's hand, pressing it to her stomach. Feel that. King's face transformed. The mask dropped completely, revealing raw wonder and vulnerability. That's my child, he whispered. Our child. Maya corrected without thinking, then froze. I mean, your child. I'm sorry, I didn't. No. King said quietly, his hand still on her stomach. You're right. You're the one carrying them, protecting them, talking to them every night. You're more their parent than I am. That's not true, Maya said. I see how you look at these ultrasound photos. You love this baby already. You're just afraid to show it. King pulled his hand back. Love makes you weak, Maya. It makes you vulnerable. People exploit that vulnerability. Who hurt you? Maya asked. Who made you believe that? King walked to the window, his back to her. After a long silence, he spoke. Her name was Vanessa. We were engaged. I thought she loved me. Then I overheard her telling her friends the truth at a charity gala. She was laughing about how easy I was to manipulate, how she couldn't wait to get her hands on my money after the wedding. I was just a walking bank account to her. I'm so sorry, Maya breathed. Don't be. She taught me a valuable lesson. Everyone wants something. At least with you, I know exactly what that something is. It's refreshingly honest. Maya felt like she had been slapped. Is that really what you think? That I'm only here for the money? Aren't you? King turned to face her, his expression carefully neutral. It's what we agreed to. A transaction. Remember? Right? Maya said, her voice hollow. A transaction. How could I forget? She stood and walked to her room, closing the door quietly. Inside, she pressed her hands to her stomach and fought back tears. Somewhere along the way, this had stopped being a transaction for her. She had started to care about the broken man on the other side of the wall. And that was the most dangerous thing she could have done. The next morning, Maya woke to find a note slipped under her door. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that the way it sounded. Please join me for breakfast. Kay. She found him in the kitchen, looking uncertain in a way she had never seen. He had made pancakes, badly, but the gesture made her heart ache. I'm not good at this, King admitted. At being human. At saying the right things. My entire life is about control and strategy and never showing weakness. But with you, I keep forgetting to maintain those walls. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Maya said softly. Maybe you're remembering how to be yourself. I'm not sure I know who that is anymore. Then maybe we can figure it out together. The weeks that followed were the happiest Maya had experienced in years. They fell into an easy rhythm that felt dangerously like a real relationship. King would work while Maya painted, and they would share updates throughout the day. He started reading parenting books, taking notes with the same intensity he applied to business deals. She caught him talking to her stomach one night when he thought she was asleep, his voice gentle in a way she had never heard. I don't know how to be a father, he whispered to the baby. My own father was absent, cold. I don't want to be like him, but I don't know how to be different. Your mother, though, Maya, she'll teach you about kindness and hope and all the things I've forgotten how to believe in. Maya's heart shattered and rebuilt itself in that moment. She pretended to sleep as tears slipped silently down her cheeks. At 6 months, King surprised her by converting one of the spare rooms into a nursery. Maya walked in to find him assembling a crib with intense concentration, surrounded by instruction manuals and scattered screws. You didn't have to do this, she said, overwhelmed. I wanted to. King looked up, a rare smile touching his lips. Besides, I'm excellent at following complex instructions. How hard can one crib be? 3 hours later, they were both sitting on the floor laughing as the crib remained decidedly not assembled. King's hair was messy, his shirt untucked, and he looked more relaxed than Maya had ever seen him. We're going to be terrible at this, he said, still laughing. We're going to be amazing, Maya corrected, and the word we hung in the air between them like a promise neither had meant to make. Their hands brushed as they reached for the same screwdriver. The laughter faded. King looked at her, really looked at her, and Maya saw her own feelings reflected in his eyes. They were inches apart, and the air felt electric. King leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. Maya didn't move. Her heart hammered against her ribs as his lips barely brushed hers, soft and questioning, nothing like the cold businessman she had met 6 months ago. Then his phone rang, shattering the moment. King jerked back, his expression shuddering. I should take this. It's about the Tokyo merger. He left the room without looking back. Maya touched her lips, her entire body trembling. What were they doing? This wasn't part of the contract. This wasn't supposed to happen. That night, Neither of them mentioned what had almost happened. But Maya felt the shift between them, electric and terrifying and wonderful all at once. The next morning, everything fell apart. Maya woke to voices in the living room. A woman's voice, sharp and familiar from the society pages Maya had Googled months ago. Vanessa Ashford, King's ex-fiancée. Maya emerged from her bedroom to find a tall, elegant woman in designer clothes standing possessively close to King. Vanessa had the kind of beauty that belonged on magazine covers, all sharp angles and perfect makeup. She smiled when she saw Maya, but it was the smile of a shark scenting blood. "Oh," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "This must be the surrogate. How quaint. King didn't mention you were living here." "Vanessa," King said tightly, "what are you doing here?" "I heard about your little arrangement," Vanessa said, running a manicured nail down King's arm. "It's brilliant, really. Creating an air without the messiness of a relationship. Very you." She glanced at Maya dismissively. "But surely you're not keeping her here? That seems excessive for someone who's just, well, carrying cargo." Maya felt like she'd been punched. She saw King's jaw clench, but he didn't contradict Vanessa. "King and I have been talking," Vanessa continued, moving closer to him, "about rekindling things. Now that you're going to be a father, you'll need a proper partner. Someone from your world who understands your life. Someone who can be a real mother to your child." "That's enough, Vanessa," King said, but his voice lacked conviction. Vanessa ignored him, focusing on Maya with cruel precision. "You do understand that once the baby is born, your contract ends? You'll leave with your check, and we'll be a family. You're just the incubator, sweetheart. Nothing more." Maya couldn't breathe. She looked at King, silently begging him to contradict this, to say that what had been growing between them was real. But he just stood there, frozen, his expression unreadable. "Excuse me," Maya whispered, and fled to her room. She pressed her back against the door, sliding down to sit on the floor. Her hands trembled as she placed them on her stomach. "I'm so stupid," she whispered. "I forgot what this was. I let myself believe in fairy tales." Over the next week, Maya pulled back completely. She was polite but distant, treating King with the same professional courtesy she would give any employer. She saw the confusion in his eyes, the hurt he tried to hide, but she couldn't let herself care. Vanessa's words had been a brutal reminder of reality. This was a transaction. She was temporary, and she had been a fool to forget it. King tried to talk to her several times, but Maya deflected with practiced ease. "I'm fine, Mr. Blackwood. Just tired. The pregnancy, you know." "Maya," he said one night, his voice rough. "We need to talk about what Vanessa said." "There's nothing to talk about," Maya said, not meeting his eyes. She was right. "I'm the surrogate. You're the client. I lost sight of that for a while, but I'm clear now." "That's not what this is," King insisted. "That's not what we've become." "What have we become?" Maya asked, finally looking at him. "Tell me, King, what am I to you? Because from where I'm standing, I'm an employee who's carrying your child. That's all I've ever been. That's all your contract says I am." King opened his mouth, then closed it. The words wouldn't come. Years of conditioning, of protecting himself, of refusing to be vulnerable had built a wall he couldn't tear down even when he desperately wanted to. "That's what I thought," Maya said quietly. "Good night, Mr. Blackwood." She retreated to her room and didn't hear King whisper to the empty hallway, "You're everything. You're everything, and I don't know how to tell you." At 7.5 months, Maya woke in the middle of the night to searing pain. She cried out, and within seconds King was at her door in pajama pants and a t-shirt, hair disheveled, eyes wild with panic. "Maya? What's wrong?" "I don't know," she gasped. "Something's wrong. It hurts." King was already on the phone with 911, already gathering her things. In the ambulance, he held her hand so tightly she thought her bones might break, but she didn't care. The pain was overwhelming, and terror clawed at her throat. "The baby," she sobbed. "Please, the baby has to be okay." "Hey," King said fiercely, his face inches from hers. "Look at me. Stay with me, Maya. Do you hear me? Stay with me." "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know. I'm terrified. But you're the strongest person I know. You're going to be fine. You both are." At the hospital, doctors swarmed. Words like emergency and complications and surgery floated around Maya's head. She tried to focus on King's face, on the raw fear in his eyes that matched her own. A doctor in scrubs appeared. We need to do an emergency C-section. The baby is in distress. Miss Rodriguez, we're going to take care of you both, I promise. Mr. Blackwood, a nurse said. You'll need to wait in. I'm not leaving her, King said, his voice leaving no room for argument. I don't care about hospital policy. I'm staying with her. Maya reached for his hand as they wheeled her towards surgery. King, if something happens. Nothing is going to happen, he said firmly, but his hand was shaking in hers. If it does, promise me you'll tell our daughter about me. Tell her I loved her from the first moment. Tell her, Maya's voice broke. Tell her I fell in love with her father too. Even though I wasn't supposed to. Even though it was stupid and against every rule. Tell her that. King's face crumpled. Maya, promise me, she insisted as they reached the surgical doors. I promise, King said, his voice thick. But you're going to tell her yourself. Because you're not going anywhere. You're not leaving me, do you understand? I won't let you. The doors closed between them. King stood frozen in the hallway, his chest tight with a terror he had never experienced in his entire life. Not when his company nearly went bankrupt in the early years. Not when his father died. Not ever. Sophia appeared, breathless from running through the hospital. I came as soon as I heard. Is she? I don't know, King said hollowly. I don't know, and I can't breathe, and this is my fault. All of it. I should have told her the truth weeks ago. I should have said. Said what? Sophia asked gently. That I love her. King whispered, the words finally breaking free. God help me, I love her. I love everything about her. The way she talks to our baby. The way she paints with her tongue between her teeth. The way she believes in hope even when the world has given her every reason not to. The way she saw past all my walls and refused to let me hide. I love her, and I've been too much of a coward to tell her, and now. He couldn't finish. Sophia took his hand. Then you tell her. When she comes out of surgery, you tell her everything. An hour passed like a lifetime. Then two. King paced the waiting room like a caged animal, unable to sit, unable to think about anything except Maya's face in that ambulance, the fear in her eyes, the words she had made him promise. Finally, a doctor emerged, pulling off surgical gloves. King rushed forward, barely able to form words. Miss Rodriguez came through surgery well, the doctor said, and King's legs nearly gave out with relief. The baby is healthy. A girl, 6 pounds, 2 ounces. They're both stable. Can I see them? King asked hoarsely. Maya is in recovery. The baby is in the nursery. Give us 30 minutes to get them settled, then you can visit. Those 30 minutes were the longest of King's life. When they finally led him to Maya's room, he paused in the doorway. She looked pale and exhausted, but alive. Beautifully, wonderfully alive. A nurse was placing a small bundle in her arms. Maya looked up and saw him. Tears streamed down her face as she gazed at the baby. King, come meet your daughter. He moved forward on trembling legs. The baby was perfect, with a tuft of dark hair and tiny fingers that gripped Maya's thumb. She's beautiful, he whispered. She has your eyes, Maya said softly, and your stubborn chin. Let's hope she has your heart, King said, and Maya's eyes snapped to his face. King, I need to say this, he interrupted, before I lose my nerve again. Before I go back to being that coward who's too afraid to be vulnerable. He sank into the chair beside her bed, taking her free hand in both of his. You asked me what you are to me. I'm going to answer that now, and I need you to let me finish because if I stop, I might never get the words out again. Maya nodded, tears spilling faster. When I hired you, you were supposed to be a transaction, a solution to a problem, nothing more. But Maya, you became everything. Every day with you, I felt like I was waking up from a long sleep. You made me remember what it feels like to laugh, to hope, to believe that maybe I could be someone other than this hollow shell I've been for years. You saw past all my wealth and power and walls to the man underneath, and somehow, impossibly, you cared about that man. I did, Maya whispered. I do. When Vanessa showed up and I just stood there like an idiot, unable to tell her to leave, unable to defend what you and I had become, it wasn't because I agreed with her. It was because I was terrified. Terrified of admitting how much you mean to me. Terrified of being vulnerable again. Terrified that if I said the words out loud, you would leave or hurt me or prove that this was all still just about the money. It stopped being about the money months ago, Maya said through her tears. I know that now. I think I knew it then too, but I couldn't let myself believe it. Then tonight, in that ambulance, when I thought I might lose you, all those walls just shattered. Because Maya, I love you. I'm in love with you. Not with the surrogate or the mother of my child or any role you're playing. I love you. The real you. The woman who believes in hope and beauty and second chances. The woman who saw a broken man and decided he was worth saving. You weren't broken, Maya said fiercely. You were hurt. There's a difference. You taught me that difference. King brought her hand to his lips. I know I'm terrible at this. I'm probably going to mess up constantly. I'll work too much and forget to say what I'm feeling and retreat behind those walls when I'm scared. But Maya, if you're willing to take a chance on me, I promise I will spend every day trying to be worthy of you. I don't want you as my surrogate. I don't want you as an employee. I want you as my partner, my equal, the love of my life, the mother of our daughter. Our daughter, Maya repeated, her voice breaking on the words. You said our daughter. She's always been ours, King said. From the moment you started talking to her about art and beauty. From the moment you showed her what love looks like just by loving her so completely. From the moment you taught me how to be human again. I'm so sorry it took me this long to say it. I'm sorry for every moment I made you feel like you were just a transaction. You're not. You never were. You're my heart, Maya. You stole it without even trying. Maya was sobbing now, clutching their daughter with one arm and reaching for King with the other. I love you. I've loved you for so long, and I tried so hard not to because it wasn't part of the deal, but I couldn't help it. You're everything I never knew I needed. King stood and leaned over the bed, careful of their sleeping daughter between them. He kissed Maya softly, tasting salt and tears and the promise of everything he thought he'd lost the right to hope for. So what happens now? Maya whispered against his lips. Now we figure it out together, King said. No more contracts. No more walls. Just us. A family. A family, Maya repeated and smiled through her tears. I like the sound of that. Their daughter chose that moment to yawn, tiny and perfect. King touched her small hand with one finger, and she gripped it instinctively. He looked at Maya, his eyes shining with unshed tears. Thank you, he said quietly, for giving me everything I didn't know I needed. For saving me. We saved each other, Maya corrected. That's what love does. Over the following weeks, King proved his words with actions. He cleared his schedule to be present for every feeding, every diaper change, every sleepless night. He moved Maya's things into his bedroom without asking, and she didn't protest. They were past pretending this was anything but what it had become, a real family built on foundations of unexpected love. 1 month after their daughter's birth, Maya woke to find King gone from bed. She found him in the nursery at 3 in the morning, holding their daughter and talking to her softly. Your mother is the most incredible person I've ever met, he was saying. She's going to teach you about art and beauty and how to see the good in people. She's going to teach you about hope. And I'm going to try my best to be the father you deserve. I'm going to teach you about strength and perseverance. But most importantly, your mother and I together are going to teach you about love. Real love. The kind that chooses you every day. The kind that's terrifying and wonderful and worth every risk. Maya's heart swelled so large she thought it might burst. She stepped into the room, and King looked up with a smile that transformed his entire face. I can't sleep, he admitted. I keep wanting to check on her. On both of you. To make sure this is real. It's real, Maya promised, wrapping her arms around him and their daughter. We're real. I want to marry you, King said suddenly. Not because of contracts or obligations, or anything except that I want to stand up in front of everyone and claim you as mine. I want the world to know that you're my family. That I choose you. That I'll choose you every day for the rest of my life. Are you proposing at 3 in the morning while holding our daughter and wearing pajamas? Maya asked, laughing. I am terrible at romance, King admitted. Should I wait? Should I plan something elaborate with roses and musicians and— Yes, Maya interrupted. My answer is yes. I don't need roses or musicians. I just need you. This you. The man who talks to our daughter at 3 in the morning. The man who finally learned that love isn't weakness, it's strength. The man who stole my heart right back. King kissed her then, soft and sweet, their daughter cradled safely between them. And in that moment, surrounded by the family he never knew he wanted, but now couldn't imagine living without, King Blackwood finally understood what it meant to be whole. 6 months later, they married in a small ceremony with just close friends and family. Sophia stood as maid of honor, holding their daughter who had managed to stay awake long enough to witness her parents' vows. King spoke his promises with tears in his eyes, every word raw and honest and real. I came into this believing love was a weakness, he said. You taught me it's the only thing that ever made me strong. You saw through my walls when I tried to hide. You believed in me when I'd forgotten how to believe in myself. You gave me everything, a daughter, a family, a reason to be more than the cold businessman I'd become. Maya, you stole my heart, and I hope you never give it back. I won't, Maya promised through happy tears. Because you stole mine too, and I think we're both better for the theft. Their daughter chose that moment to grab at Maya's bouquet, making everyone laugh. King scooped her up, pressing a kiss to her forehead before kissing his bride. In the audience, Patricia wiped away tears, thinking about the cold contract she'd drawn up 18 months ago. She had watched King transform from a man who treated everything like a business transaction into someone who looked at his wife and daughter like they hung the stars in the sky. It was the kind of transformation she never would have believed possible. As the reception continued, King pulled Maya onto the dance floor. Their daughter had been passed to Sophia for safekeeping, giving them a rare moment alone. No regrets? Maya asked, her head resting on his shoulder. Only that I wasted so much time being afraid, King admitted. But every moment since has been worth it. Every sleepless night, every diaper explosion, every moment of chaos. Because it's all with you. We still have that contract somewhere, Maya teased. $500,000 for a transaction. Best money you ever spent. Worst contract I ever signed, King corrected, then smiled at her confused expression. Because it convinced me I could put a price on love. That I could control emotions with legal terms and conditions. You taught me that the best things in life can't be contracted or controlled. They have to be chosen freely. And Maya, I choose you. Every single day, I choose you. And I choose you, Maya whispered. The broken billionaire who learned to hope again. The man who thought he wanted a transaction and got a family instead. The love of my life. They swayed together as the music played, and King thought about the man he had been 18 months ago. Cold, isolated, convinced that walls were the only way to survive. That man was gone, replaced by someone who understood that vulnerability wasn't weakness. That opening your heart was the bravest thing you could do. That love, real love, was worth every risk. Their daughter started crying from across the room, and both of them smiled. Duty calls, Maya said. Together? King asked. Always together, Maya confirmed. As they walked hand in hand to comfort their daughter, King Blackwood realized he had everything he never knew he needed. Not because he had planned it or contracted it or controlled it, but because he had taken the biggest risk of his life and let someone past his walls. Because a surrogate had stolen his heart, and in return, had given him hers. And that was worth more than all the billions in his bank account. It was worth everything. If you loved this story of unexpected love and second chances, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our next emotional journey. Drop a comment below telling us what you thought of King and Maya's story. Did the ending make you cry happy tears? We want to hear from you. And don't forget to like this video to help others discover this heartwarming tale. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, sometimes the best things in life are the ones we never see coming.